There are so many interesting, horrifying, or downright weird things in this big world of ours.
Each week, we'll bring you a new true crime story that has little to no coverage in English.
Let us do the translations so you don't have to. I'm Laura.
I'm Petra.
And I'm Victoria. And welcome to the podcast Translation Murder. So, in our previous episodes, we covered cases from the 20th century, even the 21st century. But today, we are going back a few hundred years to 18th century Hungary. And I'm going to tell you about the Szeged Witch Trials.
Cool.
Righty.
So Szeged is actually the third largest city of Hungary. It's also the regional center of the southern Great Plain. Uh, the city has currently about 160,000 inhabitants. It's a university town, and it also happens to be my hometown, where I lived until I was 24, 25, 24, I think.
And this should also be separated from the festival.
Ah, yes. So so the festival is good to mention. So maybe some people know that there's this pretty big music festival in Budapest, which is called Sziget, which means island, and this city is called Szeged. So not exactly the same, but it sounds a little bit similar.
And I made the stupid mistake of when you introduced yourself and you said you're from Hungary and you said you're from Szeged. That I was
But
like,
a lot
oh,
of
like
people
the
make this mistake.
yeah. So just wanted to clarify for anybody else.
And I don't know if maybe those two names are related somehow. Szeged might have a similar meaning, or I don't know. Well,
Hmm.
we could
Maybe
have
ask
looked into it.
Petty.
Yeah, I should definitely ask him. I asked him about a lot of things related to this story because he's a historian or like originally studied history at university. So he could explain a lot of the historical context really well to me. So the Szeged Witch Trials took place in 1728-29, and they were probably one of the largest witch hunts in Hungary that led to the death of at least 21 people. Um, and this story is such an essential part of the history of Szeged. I feel like I've always knew about it. So this was something I always like. This is kind of in the consciousness of the people of Szeged. Um, but only when I decided that I'm going to talk about it in the podcast was when I realized that I actually have no idea about the details. So it was very interesting to learn something more about my hometown because I never really know how this whole story came about. Yeah, and then because it's so like well known generally among Hungarians and especially among people from that region, I found a lot of these more superficial articles about it that mostly focus on kind of the sensational aspects of the story. But I think that the larger context and the reasons behind it are a lot more interesting. So I'm going to try to talk about that a bit more. Um, and luckily, I did find some really good sources as well, and they will be listed in the show notes. Um, yeah, so one of the first things that might, or I don't know, maybe you already noticed this as an interesting fact about this story is that it's from the 18th century, which is a little bit late. The 18th century was not exactly peak witch hunt era in the world, or for example, in Western Europe.
Yeah, that's what I was
Uh,
thinking actually. When you said
yeah,
1728, I was like, oh, that's quite late.
yeah. And I did give you some homework, right, to look into this. So did you find anything about when most of the witch trials happened in Western Europe or the Nordics, Finland, even in the US?
Well, everybody knows. Like, I mean, shall I go first, Petra? I just kind of jump
Yes,
in
I
and.
think you have more things to talk.
Yeah. So, basically, everybody kind of knows the Salem witch trials. I would hope. And yeah, so that was okay, there's quite a lot of history and whatnot with that, so I can't really go into details. But yeah, so basically it's spawned from the Puritanism and religious fanaticism, and it was kind of, from what I understand at least, it was like quite anti-female, and as they say, like it was basically a witch hunt because I mean there was a lot of these instances where people would just accuse their neighbors or whatever, and just to kind of uh, get some land or whatever. There was not really. They would also believe children, for instance, in in trying to convict witches. And there was like I forget whatever this young girl's name, but she was a real cunt, and she like I don't know caused like probably like 10 different people to be executed. And
Mm.
yeah, so that's I don't know
Wow.
Salem witch trials, and of course then there's also the aspect of well, did they think it was there was like some mold or something from some of the grain,
Ah, yeah, 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 yeah.
and then it was like a hallucination, so people could have been actually saying what they thought, but they didn't know that they were hallucinating because of course the psychedelic
Wow.
era didn't start for a couple hundred years after that.
So when did
So
this happen?
1600s. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
um and then yeah, so but of course like every I just never understood this, like why couldn't they just leave the women alone? Like just excommunicate them, send them off into the forest or something to live. Like I just never understood why they had to kill them. And I mean, they thought that these women were causing plague upon their village and whatnot, that they would curse them and they're the wives of Satan and whatever. But it's like, okay, well, if your God is so almighty, then he can protect you. But that's just me trying to be
Yeah.
logical
Well, I
about it.
guess there was some like very like strong kind of religious reasons behind it that they had to be killed in order to not be a danger to other
Yeah,
people, probably.
yeah. And then I guess there was also this, was it Cotton Mathers or something? He was like a witch hunter. I think he wrote a book about it. And then, yeah, so that's like one. And then, of course, I think the Scottish witch trials and stuff, those were also quite famous. And I have like a little bit of knowledge, just kind of random stuff. If someone was started talking about it, I'd probably have like a, a
Mm-hmm.
point to say. But, and then, like there was one instance, I think it was like maybe even in was it in the Åland Islands actually? It's like this movie called Tulen Morsian in Finnish, or like
Okay.
Devil's
Yeah.
Bride. I saw that in the movie theaters back in 2016, and that was interesting. And it was like I think it took place. This is off the top of my head, so I think it was like 1666. Because like I just remembered that because like
Mm-hmm.
666 is in the in the year. So yeah, and that was also kind of just basically hysteria and fanaticism and blah 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 blah, is and just anti-woman and trying to control women in a regard. So yeah.
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 Did you find anything about Finland, Petra?
The
I saw
thing
that
is
there
that
were some witch trials, but I didn't really look into any
yeah, I
of them in
actually
more detail.
read about it, but Finland didn't really have like Finland was part of Sweden, and in Sweden they did have, and it was mostly about this kind of mass hysteria, and actually the church and the kingdom, like the government, was really against it. They were like, what? Like everyone should get a decent trial. Let's not do anything weird, hey. But then people were really like, they hear these gossips from other parts of Europe, so it came through with the like seamen, like from harbors, people who traveled from other countries. They told these like, there's these witches nowadays in Europe, and then the Swedes got really excited, and yeah, it was focused on women, and there was lots of this, like these women would be, killing your babies and stuff like that. So people got really afraid, I guess. So that was the reason why they eventually wanted to kill the witches.
Hmm.
But funnily enough, this wasn't like, it didn't really got into the Finnish area. In Finland, most of the witches were actually male.
Hmm.
So there were a couple of these trials, but like it was not a big thing here. I think Åland was the kind of eastmost area of Nordics where it was actually a big thing.
Yeah, that's that. Actually, I just checked to make sure that my statement was correct, and yeah, it was that Tulen Morsian movie or Devil's Bride in English is actually based in Åland Island. So yeah,
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 it makes
Yeah.
sense. I
it's
mean,
a good movie if anybody
yeah.
wants to watch it. It's fuck. I'm trying to remember. Did they speak Swedish and also a little bit of Finnish? Like it was mixed because well, Åland Islands,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever. But yeah,
But hopefully there are subtitles.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely subtitles if you need.
There was articles about like these Finnish noblemen who got involved in the Swedish witch trials, but that was still in like in the west part of Swedish kingdom, so the current Sweden, not really the Finnish part.
Did you read up that like the persecuted were mostly because of people trying to get their land, or was there always like an alternative, ulterior motive to why people were being accused of witchcraft?
It what I read, it sounded more like they were just, panicking. And most
Okay.
of the witches were actually like mentally unstable. So probably they had
Mm,
a mental health issue. They were, you know, schizophrenia or something like that. And the thing was that that was understood. Like, for example, the judges and actual
mm,
government people, they were like, yes, these people are ill. That's why they, and often these, like, for example, schizophrenic women, they would kind of get into the story themselves. So they would just come up and tell, like, hi, I'm a witch, I do this, I eat kids.
mm,
So it was very easy for the common people to kind of get into the mood that, okay, these are real witches, we have to kill them.
mm.
Sounds like it was also a good way to, or an easy way to kind of get rid of people that you didn't necessarily like for some reason, like
Yeah.
to get their land.
And that when you're there's not much knowledge of mental illnesses, that someone who has schizophrenia might like feel scary, like if they're
Mm,
mumbling themselves and you don't know what's up with them.
Yeah.
So I think in Sweden it was mostly about this fear and hysteria rather than just looking for a good opportunity.
Hmm.
mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, also there was a lot of cases of women who were midwives or people who were natural healers, of course, like getting executed and stuff because, well, it's basically science back then, like why are they doing that? How do they know all this stuff? And blah blah blah. They
Yeah.
cured me
Mm.
or whatever. And whole thing of like I never understood this part too, like witches marks. I'd be fucked. Like because they say like any blemish or something or mole or whatever
Hmm.
can be
Hmm.
seen as a
Yeah.
witch's mark. And I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck. Who had pure skin back then? Who? Did they
Well,
all? Like,
exactly. I think this was just one of
Yeah.
those things that was easy to kind of pinpoint or, you know, just to
mm,
kind of pick
Yeah.
up on that this is suspicious. And it doesn't mean that other people who were not accused of being witches didn't have any moles.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it had very different, like, what would you say, principles uh, in different geographic areas. Like, I think no, in North it was mostly like this malicious witches. But for example, I think in France it was more of also including those people who have some kind of health magic, like
Hmm.
healers, that they
Mm,
also got hunted. So yeah, I guess it depends how the church was involved, how hysteric people got, and so on.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it seems like, I guess, like mostly in the 17th century, there was this like craze, this like height of witch hunts, and everyone was suddenly scared of witches. But depending on where they were, which country they were in, the reasons might have been a little bit different. And that's exactly why I thought that I will first tell you, like, give you a quick overview about the historical context about these trials in Hungary, because I think that will help you kind of understand a lot of the things that happened in the trial, like why they happened that way. So Hungary was a kingdom between the Middle Ages and the early 20th century, and between 1541 and 1699, a large part of the Kingdom of Hungary, so most of the central and southern territories, were occupied by the Ottoman Empire, and this part was called Ottoman Hungary. And there were also two other parts. So the northwestern part was called Habsburg Royal Hungary. It was part of the Habsburg Empire. And the eastern part was like a semi-independent region called the Principality of Transylvania. And what's relevant for us related to this story is this like central southern region, which is also where the city of Szeged is. So this area, the southern Great Plains region, was always agriculturally very important, but because of the Ottoman occupation in the 16th and 17th century, there were constant fights in these territories, and over time there was just no one left to kind of work the land, and the whole area or the small villages there became mostly abandoned. And by the end of the 17th century, the Habsburgs actually managed to drive out the Ottomans from these territories, including the city of Szeged, except for the southernmost part, this so called Banat region, which is on the south of Szeged, which kind of left Szeged on the border of the Ottoman Empire up until 1718. So at this point, we are like 10 years before the witch trial started. And by the 20s, Szeged was one of the biggest cities in the country, with around 15,000 inhabitants, with a overall like a pretty good infrastructure. Some kind of development in the region started again after the Ottoman occupation. But still, you can imagine that all of those decades of constant fights left their mark on the society and the agriculture and like everything, basically. And then also, most importantly, the in 1728, the Ottoman occupation is like still a very fresh memory for everyone. And the whole region is also kind of culturally more isolated from the northwestern Habsburg part and like Western Europe in general. So they're kind of like left behind a little bit, because as we just discussed, in Western Europe, witch hunts were not really a thing anymore. But I guess this like southern Hungary region hasn't gotten the memo about it yet. Another important factor is that in the years leading up to the witch trials, there were a lot of crises. There were epidemics, years of drought, which were, of course, a huge problem for the agriculture, causing famine and just kind of a general dissatisfaction in society. And it generated a lot of complaints in the public. I read that apparently the biggest, or like, yeah, the worst years of drought were actually 17, 27, 28. So exactly before these witch trials started. So this kind of gives you an idea maybe about what could be one of the triggers here for the people of Szeged.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not the most happy society.
Yeah. Quite interesting. I don't know. Like there's lots to take in. But yeah, I don't think I have any questions per se right now,
Yeah,
but a little bit interesting that there weren't, or were there? Maybe there were like witch trials in the Transylvania part, because I feel like everybody knows. So that probably included Romania, current day
yeah,
Romania,
yeah,
right? So
yes.
So the
I
Carpathian
think
Mountains.
there were, but also, so I think overall, I might be wrong about this, but I think like overall in Hungary, this one that I'm going to talk about now is like the biggest one, like the biggest, the
Mm,
worst, the most brutal witch trial. But there were more. So there were, and I think even in Transylvania, a lot of them were also in the 18th century.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking like a lot of superstition, and if anybody's read, Dracula or something, not that
Hmm.
that's like the best representation, but at least some history of I don't know, some supernatural stuff, possibly in like superstitions and whatnot. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And also kind of the natural reaction in kind of difficult times like these from people is usually what? Is usually to look for someone to blame.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then there was of course religion too. So in the 18th century, religion was like the normal part of everyday life. Everyone was religious. In Hungary, it was Christianity, and also in most of Europe. So
So
they're like,
was there a
yeah.
certain flavor of Christianity that back then was there like an actual denomination?
Um, So yeah, so I think in the Habsburg region, it was
Hmm.
they were Catholic,
Yeah, yeah.
and because the Turks or the Ottoman Empire didn't really were kind of religiously flexible with the people that they occupied or the
Hmm.
Yeah.
territories that they occupied. What is it called?
That was one of their techniques to like spread across Europe. They would, like I think with a lot of religions too, not just the Ottomans, but you usually don't try to decimate the local population's beliefs, but try to incorporate them.
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah.
Wait, now I can't remember the English term. Is it Protestantism? Is it Protestantism? The kind of reform?
Protestantism. Jesus Christ. That's even hard for me to say.
Pro-
Protestantism. Fucking hell. Protestant. Protestant is like the denomination, but then
So kind of the
wow. Uh,
reformed Christianity is was more
yeah.
widespread
Okay.
in these regions. But I don't think this made a big difference in this
Hmm.
aspect.
Yeah, I was just thinking like maybe Catholics because then they have a bit more power with the Catholic Church and that type of stuff if it was.
Yeah. It
But
might
yeah,
have been
anyway.
that at this point it was like a mix of both, but definitely Christianity was, the common religion.
Hmm.
Yeah, so of course, what did they think that this, like all of these hardships, must be like a punishment from God or must be caused by the devil, and more specifically by people among them who fraternize with the devil.
Hmm.
So this was like all of these gossips started, and this like high level of dissatisfaction in society in general finally made the authorities to announce a witch trial. So this was kind of an attempt to solve the problems and to calm everyone down. And like you just mentioned earlier, Laura, like who are people, or Petra also, who are people that that we are usually choosing, or who are the usually the targets of these accusations. It's usually people who are for some reason are on the periphery of society. So in this case they actually accused the midwife.
Hmm.
Not very surprising. Her name was Anna Nagy Kökényné, and she was apparently like generally disliked by people. I don't know. She had, well, this is what some of the articles said, that she had like a kind of argumentative, like difficult personality. So she was not
So she was
very.
a strong, independent woman, is basically what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, sounds like it. I don't know. Like, I really didn't find a lot of details about her, but of course, I think she was an easy target. And also, then these kind of rumors started that because she was a midwife, if like some babies died or mothers died, it was her fault and things like that. So she was the first one to be accused of witchcraft. So yeah, so she was interrogated and of course also tortured, which was kind of common practice at the time. She started confessing to the charges of witchcraft at some point during the torture, and she also accused many other people of witchcraft. So overall,
He
actually,
accused.
she accused like a lot of other
This is
people as well.
So she's like, yeah, I'm a witch, but so are they.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. In the end, actually, 28 people were accused of witchcraft.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I read that there, like this kind of mass arrests and interrogations started when the then head judge of the city left to represent the city of Szeged in the parliament in Bratislava, or Pozsony in Hungarian. He was substituted by another judge, and apparently there were some political rivalry situations going on between these two guys. I don't know. I'm not going to go into a lot of details about this. I didn't actually read much, but this was one of the factors apparently. So that's when they started interrogating all of these 28 people, or I guess maybe even more.
So basically, the when the cat is away, the mice will play or something kind of
Yeah, yeah.
situation.
Sounds like it. I don't know if this was, like the main reason, but this was one of the factors at least. So I'm going to tell you what they were accused of. And it sounds kind of funny, like looking at it from a 21st century
Can we
perspective.
guess? Is it going to be like bingo? Like I'm going to say fornication with the devil at
Oh,
least
that's
once.
part of it. Yes. Yes,
Okay.
that's one.
Uh, what's
I would
another
say
one?
eating babies.
Mm.
No,
Oh,
actually
Uh,
no.
poisoning food or water.
I don't know. Actually, I didn't see any poisoning accusations, but
Making them
maybe
sick.
like
Sickness. Pestilence, I mean.
I can give you a hint. It's related to the previous Turkish or Ottoman occupation. Like it's kind of related to that, and also related to this recent famine and drought in the region. So they kind of combined all of that.
Okay, so like cursing the land in fraternization with the Ottomans or something like
Mm.
that.
So yeah, yeah, but I can tell you. I can tell you
Okay, yeah,
exactly
yeah.
because I wrote all of them down, or I don't know, I guess most of them. So yeah, interrogations, right? And according to the testimonies of these people that were accused, the witches of Szeged were organized into like a sort of military organization
Hmm.
because there were many of them. They had a captain, a lieutenant, a flag bearer, drummer, I guess like someone playing the war drums or something like that. One of the witches kept their flag in a walnut shell. Their drum was a horse's hoof. The drumstick was a donkey's leg. Their trumpet was carved from donkey bone. They also confessed, apparently, that they swore themselves to the devil, who printed marks on secret parts of their bodies. They also denied their Christian faith and fornicated with the devil with great joy in order to sow the seed of evil in the world. So, yeah, these confessions painted kind of large scale, a picture of a large scale conspiracy committed by this kind of criminal organization of witches. And the members of this witch organization were like wealthy people or citizens that were kind of vocal, who had several like enemies or people that didn't like them, also healers like midwives and such, so people who were dealing with herbs and healing mixtures and creams, so things that could be easily suspicious and deemed witchcraft. And interestingly, and I'm going to get to the drought and Ottoman part in a second. Interestingly, determined that the leader of the witches was 82-year-old former city judge Daniel Roja, who was
Hmm.
also who was also the richest man of the city.
Yeah,
What do you
I
think about this?
not a coincidence at all, I would say. Yeah. Especially 82 back in those days. That's like
Right?
fucking like 160 in today's years.
It's
So,
crazy. I was so surprised that this guy was
wow.
82 years old
But I
back
mean, if
then.
he wants to get, or I mean, fornicating with the devil, right?
Yeah,
Didn't everybody have to
exactly.
fornicate? So, yeah. Wow. Get
Yeah.
it. Get it.
But yeah, I think a lot of people were jealous of him because he had this successful career. He was, yeah, the richest man of the city. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It
I
was
have a
easy to,
question
yes.
for each of you. I kind of want to ask, what do you think nowadays would cause you to be tried as a witch?
Oh, I guess it also depends on which country we're talking about or which kind of what political situation we're talking about.
Okay. Okay. Let's choose Szeged then. Like to be persecuted there. What would cause you to go on trial? Do you think if you were like literally transported as you are right now, sitting back in that day, kind of like I don't know, Outlander style or something?
But you mean like currently, like in the
Yeah.
current? Yeah. I don't know, because I think first you kind of need this like very radical religious environment.
Yeah,
Or
and
would you though?
unscientific.
No, I mean not today's like, but like if you were literally transported back to the 1700s, like
Ah, okay,
from
okay.
today
Ah,
going back to the 1700s. Like I can go first. I'd
So
probably
wait,
say
do you
like
mean personally us?
yeah,
What would
personally. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Well,
Yeah, I
yeah. I can
misunderstood the
go
question.
first though if it'll make it easier. Like I would say probably piercings and tattoos and
Hmm.
short hair and wearing pants. And then
Well,
also my prevalence for going into the woods alone and going foraging for mushrooms and making things out of them. So, yeah, I'm basically a
yeah.
witch.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah.
I guess to me, like also tattoos, also wearing pants. I don't know, having an opinion.
Yeah. Wearing glasses. Witchcraft.
Oh my God, yes.
I mean, I would say that almost any modern woman would be a witch in that
Yeah.
environment,
Yeah,
like just
Yeah.
for our attitude, like I'm a human being.
Witch.
yeah.
Fuck. And then I'd be talking to all the animals, and people would be like, oh my God, she's communicating with her familiars. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would just be all bad. They would immediately try to accuse me. I'd be I don't know how they executed people, but I think one of the worst ones, like, okay, either fire or in Scotland, they would tie people up to posts or on some rocks or something and wait for the tide to come in. That would also be kind of bad, I think. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, that's just a tangent. Me going off on a tangent.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm still thinking about like I don't know, like which one of these reasons would they pick? I think it really depends on what their problem is, like, or
Mm,
what's the most recent problem of the time. And
yeah.
yeah,
Wanting body autonomy. Burn her.
I have a feeling that the point is not actually about the victim. Like it's a bit like, okay, this is a weird metaphor here, but I think it's more like rape. It's not about the victim, it's about the perpetrator. So they have something, someone needs to be punished. They will find a reason. And like
Mm,
you mentioned about the Salem ones, that okay, I want that land. Hey, they're witch. So like the midwife here in this case, they were just like, oh, we fucking hate that woman. Ah, maybe we could make her a witch. So
yeah,
I think, yeah,
they're just like very desperate about some problem, and
mm.
then oh, what could be a solution? And then it's also kind of convenient to find,
yeah,
those targets.
Yeah. And of course, like group mentality too. If one person jumps on the bandwagon, you don't want to be that. So it's kind of,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, more people just getting behind. Yeah, I agree. They did this. And then maybe stuff spins out of proportions or lies are said. And yeah,
it's a bit like school bullying nowadays.
yeah, yeah,
mm-hmm.
that's a good point. Yeah, very true. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just need like, but then also in those instances, then if you're the one person to stand up against the bullies, then you probably would have been declared a witch too. So it probably
exactly.
wouldn't have
So
Yeah,
even
helped.
if you don't agree, I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
not
You're
smart
damned if
to
you do and damned if you don't. So.
exactly.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, at least I would want to go into the history books as like fornicating with the devil and dancing and like riding a broomstick at night and being able to converse with animals or something. I don't know. Just yeah, sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
Sounds rad.
Well, yeah. And it's interesting that there are a lot of these common elements in the accusations like everywhere, but
Yeah.
like there are also these very specific aspects that are coming from their own like local problems. Yeah, okay. So Daniel Roja, the 82-year-old former city judge, so he was also accused. He was like deemed to be the leader of the witches. And he was arrested. He was also tortured, and eventually he admitted that they. So now I will tell you what he admitted to, what they actually did. So that they sold the reign to the Turks or the Ottomans for 7 years.
Okay.
Uh,
What did they gain?
According to, well, because they were, I don't know, they sold their soul to the devil, and that's, and then they were obliged to do these evil acts, I guess.
Mm,
Uh,
mm. Because the devil loves the Ottomans? Is that like I?
I don't
There's
know.
so much
Well, I
like
don't.
misinformation about religion back then too. So it's like if there's anything but Christianity, it's the devil. It's the devil
Yeah,
work, which is totally fucked too. So
exactly. And a lot of these
uh,
things are not, very logical. So, so
yeah,
yeah, yeah. You don't. I don't know. Maybe we don't have to look for, reasons to like behind all of these. It's
don't have to do
yeah,
mental acrobatics to find any reason.
yeah. So according to the prosecution, Daniel, he locked the rain in a bag and hid it under his barrels that were used for like transporting goods. And also Anna, the midwife who was accused at first, they said that she sold the rain, the fish, and the fat of the earth to the Turks.
Not the fat of the earth.
The fat of
No.
the earth. So I actually tried to look for what the fat of the earth is. I have some guesses. I didn't really find like a concrete answer. Do you know what this is, or do you have any guesses?
Uh, I might have some, possibly. Like, uh, well, it just kind of reminds you of The Prodigy, because there's an album. Anyway, uh,
Ah, okay.
but I'm wondering, could it also have been like fat of the lamb, lamb, fat of the lamb, as in like sheep or
Mm-hmm.
something?
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know, but yeah, fat of the land. I'm just guessing like the plentifulness of the land,
Yeah, I was
possibly.
also thinking like the
Yeah.
fertility of the
Yeah,
Yeah, it
land.
sounds like a kind of a metaphor.
yeah.
Yeah. I found this like as an expression in some on some websites, but they like none of them really explained what what it is. So I don't know, but I guess yeah. So these were the accusations. Selling the rain. Well, I mean it's obvious, right? They have been having this drought for like almost 2 years at that point, or 1.5 years. Um, they knew these like bad people who occupied their land for a really long time. So it only made sense to put this together and have that as the reason.
Do you guys actually want to know what the fat of the earth is? I found
You
something.
found it?
Well, fat of the land, so I'm thinking just earth and land because usually ma or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
these things are like synonymous. But yeah, so fat of the land, according to dictionary .com, the best or richest of anything, as in the tiny upper class lived off the fat of the land while many of the poor were starving. This expression alludes to the fat of the sense of the best or the richest part. The Bible has said it as eat the fat of the land, Genesis
Ah,
45:18.
okay.
Okay, so it's like a biblical expression.
Yeah.
Probably the issue was that I only Googled this in Hungarian and I didn't
Yeah.
find a lot of details or answers. But, and then I just kind of directly translated it to English. But yeah, it makes sense. Okay, so what happened after this? All these like 28 people were accused, and they had to go through a series of tests to determine if they are witches or not. Trial by water or ordeal by water was one of these tests. Do you know? Does any of you know which or well, how this
Yeah.
test was done?
Yeah.
Yeah. You tie the hands and throw them to water, and if they drown, well, they were innocent. Too bad. Now they're a drowned innocent. And if they survived, they were obviously a witch, and then they would be killed. So
Yeah. Pretty much
lose
Yeah,
there.
lose situation.
pretty
Yeah.
much. Yes. I read that sometimes they tied like a rope on the person, so if they sank, they actually dragged them out. So they didn't always drown, but a lot of
Okay.
the times they drowned.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that part I just don't understand. Like if a witch floats or whatever, yeah, why not just tie the rope to their waist and then pull them out at the last minute or something? Like, okay, that
Mhm.
yeah, saying they almost died but didn't, so they're innocent. Like, what the fuck?
Well, they did this sometimes apparently, but
Yeah, just
yeah,
another thing that
not
I'm always
always.
like, what the fuck? And then I had another question. Did you read anything about like the torture, like what type of torture they used, or like,
Mm, I only read about these like tests, whether like to determine if they were witches or not, but not the actual tortures.
ah, okay, yeah. What do you want to go into detail about some of the tests then, or?
Well, this was one of this trial by water was one of
Mm.
the ones that they used in the Szeged Witch Trials. So I wanted to mention this one. I think they also used this like they also weighed them. Like the one method was like by to determine if they're witches by like weighing them, and if they were too light, that also meant that they were guilty.
So really
Uh,
poor people who didn't eat a lot then were basically witches, or?
I don't know. Well, I guess if they were already accused, and yeah, well, it's hard to say because I read that in some cases they weighed them against a stack of Bibles, but I don't know if that was the standard method, and if they were lighter than the stack of Bibles, then they were witches. But I didn't read anything about Bibles in the Szeged Witch Trials, so I don't know.
Hmm.
It was kind of a arbitrary method. Yeah, and the other thing that they did that you already mentioned, Laura, was like poking them with needles to identify the devil's mark. So, like birthmarks were always suspicious, and they poked them, and if it didn't bleed, that meant that they were guilty.
Hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume that there are these kind of moles and stuff that might not have any blood circulation.
Hmm.
Yep. Like these
So,
skin growths, these skin tags and stuff like that, for
Yeah,
instance.
and
Yeah.
exactly.
then they wouldn't bleed even if you put a needle on them. So, too bad for you. Then you're a
Yeah,
witch.
yeah.
Yeah.
They did the water test on like three elderly women. Was done on the like Tisa River, which runs through the city of Szeged, and actually all three of them died. They all drowned, so it meant that they were innocent. So that also
I wonder
happened in
how
this
these
case.
people felt afterwards. Like, I wonder if there's any diary entries or anything like that. Like, oh shit, we just drowned three elderly women today. All of them were
Hmm.
innocent. You'd think that they'd fucking feel bad, but I have a like I don't know a suspicion that they probably didn't really feel anything because, as we know, it's always because, as Petra said, like rape, you know, like it's
Yeah,
for the perpetrator and not for the victim kind of thing.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
yeah.
Was just thinking that maybe they were like, okay, well, they were innocent. Now they're in heaven. Good for
Oh
them.
yeah,
Kind of.
that
probably.
whole jazz. Yeah.
Yeah, probably something like that.
They got to go to heaven early to meet with Jesus and God. Yeah.
Yeah, fun,
I don't know.
fun
These types of
stuff.
topics are like always just I want to shake people and like bitch slap people as much as possible because I'm just like, God damn it, science is great.
Yeah,
Like,
But I mean, they
uh,
didn't have it yet.
exactly. So it's like it kind of made me like angry as well. Like, how the fuck did this happen? But it's like a completely different era. It's impossible to compare to current day.
I don't know. I was just thinking of some comparable things maybe between people who were into QAnon, for instance, and
Okay,
maybe like
yes.
Trumpists and stuff. Like I don't know. There's this. There's these guys on Instagram and I guess TikTok. I don't know. I'm not on TikTok, but they go around to these Trump rallies and gatherings. I think it's like for the Daily Show or something. They're somehow tied to that. And they go around and they kind of give these interviews to people. I'll try to find out exactly who these people are, but it's usually like a duo. Um, and they randomly ask people, like they're giving like, oh yeah, so what do you think of Trump and blah 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 blah, and they're like asking them like sincerely about what they think. And the people, like, there's this one lady, she was going off on what the fuck was it called? It was something like numberology or something like that, but not numerology, but like something to do with numbers, and how like John F. Kennedy, if you like count the letters in his name, it equals like a certain number, and then Trump also has that number in it, and then there's like certain numbers that mean something, so then it actually means that JFK and Trump are the same person.
Oh my God.
And she was like fucking like real about this. There's like an app or something to, I don't know, input some words or phrases and stuff, and then it gives you this output of numbers, what it means in this like code thing. And yeah, there's some people who believe that shit. So I don't know.
Wow.
And
I
here
mean,
we still
sure.
have a society. I assume that all the also all the Trump supporters have had a basic education that teaches about scientific basic facts, but still they go on that way. So they are not in the same situation as people in the countryside of 1800 Hungary.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
there's like plenty of fucking stupid people today as well, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But like,
it's weird.
luckily, it's not the mainstream anymore. Maybe, I don't know. Of course, it can always change, and yeah, it kind of depends. But not as extreme as it was in, well, early 18th century Szeged, I guess.
I mean, there's also quite a lot of same mentality, I would say. So maybe, yeah, like not the same, obviously, as witch hunts per se, but just the
Mm.
same mentality with these
Yeah.
types of people like doing the mental gymnastics to make something work. And then, of course, like these online situations where someone maybe said something, let's say, not politically correct, and then everybody kind of, even if they, let's say, maybe deserve it in the end, but then people just, even if I didn't know that person or something, or they like they all gang up on them, and it's like this kind of herd mentality thing that
Hmm.
people just do to fit in and like, I don't know, have a have a shared goal or something of humiliating or bringing someone to justice. So in
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
regard, there's the same mentality today. I mean, because it is
Yeah.
human nature,
Definitely. Yeah.
but yeah, just add in non-educated, non-scientific minds, and then that's what you get with the witch trials. So
Yeah. And this is the problem when we have, leaders even today who kind of jump on this, like know about this mentality of people and exploit it. Because this can be used for good things as well. But as we
mm-hmm.
know, very often it's not.
Yeah, I guess we don't say anybody out loud because we don't want to get sued. But yeah,
Well, I don't know. I think we can criticize people who, appear publicly and are the leaders of countries. So I don't mind saying that
yeah,
Orban is one of the prime
yeah,
examples of
yeah,
this, but there are other people as well.
and Trump. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like if you choose to be a politician, then you choose the possibility that you will be harshly criticized.
Yeah,
So
of course you can't like threaten them in the first person of harm or something like that. At least the president, you can't, I think. Like,
Hmm.
but yeah. Anyway, yeah,
Okay, back to the witch trials.
yeah,
So during this like interrogational torture, a lot of people died or committed suicide. And the final verdict was announced on the 26th of June, 1728. And in the end, 18 people were sentenced, and three of them died already in prison. About a month later, on July the 23rd, 1728, 12 people, six men and six women. So here it was not really focused on women that much. It was like half half. So six men and six women were burned alive at the stake for witchcraft on a foresty area of the river bank of the Tisa River, called Boszorkánysziget, which means island of witches. It is not a real island, though. It might have been apparently a peninsula at some point. It's not even that anymore. It's just this foresty little place. One additional woman was first beheaded and then burned. So, in addition to these 12 people that I mentioned, and there were two other women who were executed later in March of 1729. So, the next year, I read that one of them was pregnant at the time when the year before in 28. I'm not sure about the other one. It might have been that both of them were pregnant, but because of that, they postponed their execution.
Do you mean that they were executed after they gave birth?
I think so. Like, I didn't actually find that specific information that they gave birth or that one woman that was apparently pregnant.
Yeah.
I don't know what about the other, but I didn't actually find this that she gave birth and then after that was executed, but sounded like it from the sources that I read.
That's interesting. Like, I don't know, I would assume that if someone is accused as a witch, that they would just automatically think like, okay, if they're pregnant, it's also the child of the devil or something
Hmm.
like that, and wouldn't care about the fact that they are pregnant. But this sounded more like, okay, let's give her the chance to give birth to the innocent child before we murder her. Or
Yeah.
like, hmm,
But I don't know
Yeah.
if this was actually a thing. Like, have you seen the series Outlander?
Yes.
no.
In the first season of Outlander, Laura, do you remember that Gillis, I think? She was
Yeah.
also
Gaelish.
like, oh, yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, so she was also not executed because she was pregnant, right? Or
Mm.
something like that.
Yeah, it was like in the series, like the TV series, she was like they make you believe that she was executed in the first season. Sorry for spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
And
Sorry.
then
Well, we can, I don't know. We can cut it out if it's, but it's such a, it's,
it's been
I
out
don't
for a
know.
while, and of
Yeah,
course, and
right.
then in
I
the
mean, I
yeah,
know the
yeah,
series too.
yeah, yeah. So, but yeah,
So I don't know, like, is this based on like real, like, is this how they did it back then in many, I don't know, different countries that if someone was pregnant, then there was a good reason to postpone the execution.
I mean, at like in the Salem witch trials, as far as I know, like they waited for them to give birth. Like they didn't, yeah, they
Hmm.
didn't execute anybody who like was pregnant. They would wait because yeah, like the baby is innocent in it all and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
think there was one. Like I'm trying to remember whether it be some type of fiction or from the Salem witch trials or actual stuff, but I think one person was maybe executed. I can try to find, but yeah, like most of them I think were like not indeed pregnant when they were like they gave birth
Hmm.
already.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. I guess it
Yeah.
depends on what they.
yeah, became pregnant even to like postpone the trial too. I think that was
Mm.
also
After these witch trials, the news about it spread pretty quickly in the country, and there was kind of a public outcry over its brutality. Finally, I'm not sure when exactly, but at some point, the court in Vienna classified the case files for 100 years. And apparently, the city of Szeged was so ashamed of this event that even a century later, in 1830, they refused to release the files so that it would not tarnish the city's reputation. But of course, like now, these case files are not classified anymore. You can find them, you can read them if you're interested, if you can read Hungarian. They're included in one of these books that I use as a source. But it's interesting how I don't know. This was such a they were not proud of this pretty soon after it happened.
What was the reason that these witch trials stopped?
So I found that in 1756, Queen Maria Theresa ordered that all witchcraft must be confirmed by the High Court, which was kind of the reason that pretty much ended witch trials, because most of them just didn't qualify, like they were not confirmed by the high court. But still, there were some more. So I read that the last person in Hungary that was executed for witchcraft was in 1777. But this one, the Szeged Witch Trials, were the most like brutal, or like it involved the most people. I guess I don't know. It was just people just started realizing that this is this doesn't make sense, and it just
Yeah.
slowly reached everyone eventually.
Is there
Yeah,
any like
because yeah.
yeah, sorry, go on, Petra.
No, I just read about like kind of the end of the Swedish witch trials was that uh like some religious like the priests and more of these like people who had actually, you know, power of religion, they were like, hey, come on guys, this doesn't make sense. The God is good. Our good God wouldn't allow this kind of devil to just do this kind of things, like stop believing this
Hmm.
bullshit.
Yeah,
And
that's what I would have been like. What the fuck? That's what I even said at the beginning. I'm like, why? If your God is almighty, why would he allow this
yeah,
to
it's
happen?
interesting that in Sweden it apparently was kind of the church and the actual like religious people, like priests and
Mm,
people like that, who were like, hey, people, now calm down, God is good, not doing anything like this, stop.
Yeah.
yeah, the Swedes, man, my people.
Yeah,
No.
good Swedes. The country is like, okej, nu vi måste hålla.
I guess it might have been similar.
Oh
I
God.
think like eventually this kind of mentality that, this is not really, it could not possibly be the reason why we have drought and I don't know, all these natural disasters and whatever, So it just,
Yeah, I mean, it's more paganism if you think about it that way. Like this type of, if you need to appease the gods to give you good weather or whatever.
mm-hmm,
So, and
mm-hmm,
that's, worshipping of false idols
Yeah,
and etc. So
exactly.
it's exactly against
yeah,
Christianity and the Christian God. So yeah, it's
yeah.
hypocrisy, of course, like we see in everything.
Also, here's a fun fact for you in the end. So after
Hmm.
the witch trials, the island of witches, where the executions happened, became this feared place that many people started avoiding. And also, rumors started that the ghosts of the witches still live there. And over the centuries, this became like an urban legend that everyone knows to this day in Szeged. So, this is something that I always knew about. And also, it was kind of this fun, spooky place to go to as a teenager. I guess people still do that now. I don't know. But we
Can we go? Can
we
we
can
go?
go. Laura and I are going to Szeged in the end of October. We can go. Uh, we
You are?
are.
Yes.
Oh,
We are. Yeah.
This was perfect
I was
timing.
just thinking the same. Yeah. We can go. It's actually, it doesn't look like much. It's just like, I don't know. It's not even that well maintained. It's like trees, apparently some homeless people live there. I know teenagers are drinking there. We can go.
Okay.
It's kind of in the middle of the city by
Yeah.
the riverbank, so it's not even hard to go there.
Maybe we'll see a ghost
Maybe.
witch.
I've never seen
Yeah.
one there, but maybe this time we will.
Mm. We can try some water witching or dowsing or
Yeah.
something near there. The question, like, was there ever like any museum or like national apology to the ancestors of these people that were like killed? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, because like in the Salem witch trials, at least there was it in the
Mhm.
1900s or within like late 1900s or in the 2000s or something, there was like an official
Yeah.
apology based off of that, and like then they like cleared them
Mhm.
of witchcraft and whatnot because they knew it was complete bullshit. So I'm just thinking, is there anything like that? And of course, in Salem, it's a whole
Yeah.
fucking town that's getting all of its
Yeah. Not
like
that I not that I
monetary.
know of.
Yeah.
I might be wrong.
Mm,
I'm sorry if I'm wrong. This never came up in any of
yeah.
the sources that I read. But it might have happened,
Yeah.
but I
I'm
don't
just
think so.
thinking. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just thinking if you go and visit your relatives in Szeged and then I'm bored and I can go
Mm-hmm.
to some museums or something
Yeah.
and read up on
It's
some
so
witch
funny because
trials.
this like whole like witches of Szeged is just something that like kind of comes up all the time. Like it's used in the names of businesses or like marketing materials, and things like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Really?
It's a
Wow.
thing. Like
What
yeah.
the fuck?
And yeah, and I
Sacrilegious.
I always just kind of, knew that this was a thing, but never actually knew what happened and how horrible it was. So I'm really glad that I looked
Yeah.
into it finally after all these years.
Has your family like always been in Szeged or like
Uh,
how far back can you?
yeah, yeah. Like one part of them um, moved to Szeged from the area that's now in Serbia, now part of Serbia. But the other part was
Mhm.
always in Szeged. So yeah, I was born there. So I would consider my family to be from Szeged.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking like, could you even possibly do some genealogy and find out like if you were some type of
Mm-hmm.
related? Because I mean, if you said the population was
Yeah,
10,000, I think back
15,000 maybe.
then, 15,000. So that's not
No.
that many people. At least you, like your
Mm-hmm.
I don't know relative, if you had relatives back then, would at least know one of the people, or maybe even be one of those
Yeah, it
people.
would be
So just
interesting. Like
kind of
based on the
interesting.
names that I saw, because the names of the people who were
Hmm.
burnt, um, you can find
Yeah.
it. Uh, it's public information. I didn't find any like obviously familiar names, but it's still possible.
Yeah, I mean, a
Yeah,
lot can
yeah,
change
for
within a
sure.
couple hundred years. I mean, even within like the last like, yeah, like my name is Hedlund, but I mean it was
Mm-hmm.
Anderson like at the beginning of the 1900s before my grandfather came to. Anyway, yeah, just
Yeah. So yeah, this was a little
yeah,
bit of a different story than the ones that we've covered so far. But I thought, like, I don't know. I guess this also fits our theme, and there's really not much about this
Yeah.
in English. Just some, like, some mentions that this was one of these late, like, pretty brutal cases. But yeah, even in Hungarian, it was not so easy to find all the details. Um, right away. So I needed to do some digging and to look into the history to kind of understand how how really this happened.
yeah. I mean, it was quite interesting, like historically, all the stuff that's going on, and that was yeah, well done by you to describe all of that stuff, and of course the different
Mm.
kingdoms and stuff that make up
Yeah, I
Hungary
hope this
today.
was not like
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
too much, but I felt it was necessary to kind of add that in a little bit.
No, I think it was
Mm.
good amount. I
Yeah, I
mean,
think it was
people.
necessary. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely added some context to
Yeah, and
everything.
you know what? Like the reason why I actually looked into the history is because I started reading these first few articles and I was like, I kind of get it, but I don't really get it.
I'm actually kind of curious, like, is the concept of witches only like the concept of witches as we think of it today? Is it kind of only in the realm of Christianity? Because now I'm thinking of the
Mm-hmm.
Ottoman Empire, who had, you know, a big a big footprint or whatever in southern
Mm-hmm.
Europe as we know it today and whatnot. And I'm just thinking like in their religion and whatnot, do they consider witches like was there hysteria in some of these other religions as well, or was it only Christianity?
I think it's only.
And
Wasn't
why is
Mm.
that?
Ottoman
Like
Empire was Muslim
Mm-hmm.
empire? Was
yes,
it?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was only a thing in
I mean,
Christianity. I'm sure well, we know that the other
which is
religions had
funny.
other stuff, other problematic stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 definitely. Like
They
every religion
somehow
is
like
yeah.
have these are these what do you call them in English? Abrahamic religions
Mm,
like Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. So
yeah.
they are very strongly about the like one God and
Mm,
everything other is bullshit. Don't believe it. Kind of religions, right?
yeah.
So I don't know. It would be interesting to read what kind of how have they treated this. pagans and so on, if there
Yeah.
wasn't anything similar to witch trials.
Yeah. I mean, of course, we see it like in land disputes and today's. Okay, don't want to get all like political and whatnot with it, but of course, we still have like the
Hmm.
Israeli-Palestinian dispute and stuff like that, and of course, like all this stuff. And that's well, okay, I won't go into it, but like, yeah. So there is some type of like religious conflicts, of course, or geopolitical religious conflicts, and but yeah, it's kind of interesting that if no other religions besides basically Christianity, any flavor of Christianity, be it Protestantism or Lutheranism or Catholicism or something like that, like they only had witch hunts and witch trials, which would be kind of indicative of the religion
Hmm.
itself, maybe. But yeah, yeah. Of course, if anybody knows in the audience, I would read a dissertation about this if you happen to have. So yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what do we have for next week? Petra, are you going to bring us a story?
Well, yes, we will fly far away from Christianity and all this and to go to the great island of Japan.
So is it
And
Shintoism or
yeah, but I mean, they don't have a like
religion?
official
Religion. Yeah.
religion, but yeah, Shintoism and Buddhism are the
Yeah.
main religions of Japan. But
Mm.
they are not too picky about it. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, and we will also jump back to the future. So, no, not future, I would say
Hmm.
modern ages. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
any
Yeah, I was
knowledge
like,
of
how do you know,
future
Petra?
murders.
A witch. She's a witch.
Or, okay, yeah. So, yeah, modern murder in modern Japan. Uh, I won't tell you too much to, uh, so that you won't know, but it is poisoning
Ooh,
Hmm.
of the
okay.
victim.
And I won't be able to find it if I don't know Japanese, right? So if I start Googling
I
Japanese
mean,
poison
I would
murder.
say that there has been several poisoning murders in Japan, so probably you won't be able to guess which one it is.
Okay.
And I checked this up, and I could find only like in English it was available in some like Japanese newspapers, English versions,
Hmm.
but not like
Uh-huh.
in any international newslet. So I assume it's not very uh, known outside
Okay,
Japan.
interesting. So I
Okay.
guess we may or may not
Intrigued.
post a little hint about it on our Instagram page. Let's see if we will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Which is what?
Yeah, we need to.
Or is
I have a good idea what kind of
ah,
picture I could post as
okay,
a
cool.
hint.
I meant what is our
Mhm.
Instagram page? Is it Translation Murder Podcast?
Oh, yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I think it's Translation Murder
Yes,
Podcast.
yes, you can get
Follow us on Instagram for the hints.
yes. Yeah, and you can if we're doing this, might as well just tag the gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
So you can also message us for any suggestions or like I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
listener stories or only good news and no
No
hate
dick
mail,
pics.
please, and no dick
Yeah.
pics. Yeah. Is that our like catchphrase now? No dick
Well,
pics.
I mean, kind of.
Um, yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no dick pics, but yeah, you can send anything else. Okay, that's really broad,
No,
so
no,
I'm
no,
gonna
no, no,
No,
don't
just
be
suggestions,
too
nice
too
things,
lit here.
suggestions, nice things, happy
compliments.
thoughts, um,
I mean,
compliments
if
only.
I'm up to receiving constructive
Yes.
feedback
Oh,
too. If you,
that is, I was
you
also
know,
thinking that too. Constructive feedback, as long as it is constructive and is like said in a nice manner to actually make me want to make the changes, then yes, put
Yeah,
that
we
forward
recommend
too.
you to
So
start with a compliment, then follow with the constructive criticism, then
yeah,
also end your email with a compliment. So we feel better about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
hamburger model.
Yeah, constructive compliment sandwich. Yeah.
We receive criticism only in a hamburger
Yes.
form.
Mm,
The rest are
yes,
filtered out.
definitely. Yeah.
Yes, we have a very good AI for this.
Yeah. Yes. And you can do that at translationmurderpodcast@gmail.com as well.
Thank,
So just everything is translation murder
yes.
podcast. So
Thank you for listening.
yeah. Thank you for getting all
Thank
the
you.
research together,
My
Victoria.
pleasure.
It was very interesting.
See you next week.
Yep. See you next week.
Bye.
See you.
Hei paralla. Bye.
Moro.